Jurassic Quest drive-through safari.
Let's don't be scared of photos. Just chasing me.
I'm kind of cute.
Please keep your hands, feet, heads, children, and other appendages inside your vehicles at all times. We know that there's a lot of incredible sights to take in, but please be very careful to pay full attention to the driving path, as well as the distance to the cars ahead. Please observe our 5-mile-per-hour speed limit. The only time you should leave your vehicle is at our designated restroom area. Our track record of 0 dinosaur-related attacks. This week so far. And you guys are ready for your Jurassic Quest. Please pause the audio until you reach the first scene. I'm prehistoric fossil expert here at Jurassic Quest.
9 years ago. Beside that is a kind of skinny dinosaur named a Coelophysis. Its name means hollow form because they had hollow sacs of air in their joints instead of cartilage. Coelophysis is the oldest known dinosaur from North America. And here is a large predator known as Herrerasaurus. Herrerasaurus is the name of one of the largest predatory dinosaurs that lived in the Triassic period. It lived in what is now Argentina about 231 million years ago.
Hey there, folks, this is Safari Sarah. The Triassic period was the dawn of the age of dinosaurs, but it too had to come to an end. Just a little over 200 million years ago, the Earth encountered another mass extinction. Believed to be caused by an increased period of volcanic activity, it caused the extinction of roughly 70% of life on Earth. This wiped out a lot of bigger animals at the time. Without big competitors, giant creatures we think of when we hear the word
It has an eye.
dinosaur.
It's moving.
Captain Caleb here. I hope your auto insurance covers water damage. Because in order to get into the Jurassic period, we're diving deep into the Jurassic Ocean. The big shell you see is an ammonite. Ammonites are cephalopods. That means they are relatives of the squid, octopus, and nautilus. Their spiral shells protected them from predators. Some shells got to reach sizes of 6 feet across or more. The animal that looks kind of like a small dolphin is an Ichthyosaurus. That name means fish lizard. It's an aquatic reptile, not a mammal, so it isn't related to dolphins at all. We can't forget about the small, long-necked animal swimming with it. That's a Plesiosaurus, another important part of this ecosystem. As a wise man once said, there's always a bigger fish. The big critter here is the magical Leopleurodon. Leopleurodon was a member of the pliosaur family, which is a kind of short-necked plesiosaur. It's important to point out that the animals you see here are not dinosaurs, but reptiles that lived in the ocean at the same time as the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, for the most part, lived on land and had legs that went straight underneath their hips and not splayed out to the sides like
He's looking at me.
Triceratops, stop the audio until you reach the next scene.
Hello, everyone. This is Park Ranger Marty. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Ideas of Dilophosaurus spitting poison or venom or acid, and a lot of the pictures and toys show them with a big frill around their neck. Well, unfortunately, the movies that this idea comes from used what we call artistic license, which is just a fancy way of saying they just plain made it up. We don't know for sure that some dinosaurs didn't spit poison, but we don't have any reason to think that Dilophosaurus did. There's also no evidence that they had that colored ruff. The frill is seen in other creatures when frightened, like a frilled neck lizard or a wild William Shakespeare, but not in Dilophosaurus as far as we know.
If you said Stegosaurus, you're right. Stegosaurus is a Jurassic plant eater whose back, neck, and tail were covered in bony plates. Stegosaurus had a special weapon. Along its tail, it had a set of spikes called a thagomizer that it would use to defend itself from predators. And the predator it had to worry about the most was Allosaurus. T-Rex isn't the only scary meat-eating dinosaur we have here at Jurassic Quest. Allosaurus was one of the larger predators around in the late Jurassic. Allosaurus had long arms for a theropod with big, hooked claws. These could help it grip onto its prey while it used its serrated teeth as its primary weapon. We know it used its arms because scientists have found signs of microscopic stress fractures on the bones of their forearms. This happens in bones when a person or an animal is using force to move heavy weight with their bodies. They might have used their arms to keep prey from getting away, or possibly to hold onto a Stegosaurus's tail to avoid getting hit. The little guys in the scene are called Iguanodon. They're an early member of the Coelosaur family that lived in what is now China. The Coelosaur family was made up of mostly small predators, but as time went by, some Coelosaurs eventually became a bit bigger. Specifically, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The big, long-necked dinosaur in this scene is Apatosaurus. Apatosaurus is what we call a sauropod, or a long time. To eat even more, these long-necked giants didn't even waste time chewing, but swallowed the leaves from trees whole. But they had a special trick to help them digest their food. Sauropods would sometimes crane their long necks down to the ground and swallow small stones. Those rocks would help them grind up their food once it was inside. Those rocks are called gastroliths, or stomach rocks in Latin. These gastroliths are super important because they help scientists to learn the migration patterns of these dinosaurs by matching the gastroliths back to the areas where the rocks
Maybe a Pee Wee Herman.
Please pause your audio tour until your dinosaur herd migrates on up to the next scene. Starting off in what is now England during the early Cretaceous, roughly 120 million years ago. The duck-billed dinosaur you see is what we call an Iguanodon, and it's one of the first dinosaurs to be discovered and named. Some of you might have already guessed that Iguanodon means iguana tooth. When Iguanodon was discovered in England, no one had ever even heard of dinosaurs yet. So when it came time to name this bizarre new animal, the only similarities anyone could think of were that its teeth kind of looked like the teeth of an iguana. England in the 1980s, it had fossilized fish bones and
That means it's a relative of the T-Rex. Eutyrannus lived in the Liaoning province of China. What makes Eutyrannus special is that it is the largest dinosaur that we know of with feathers. We know that Eutyrannus had feathers because of where and when it lived. About 120 million years ago, a volcanic eruption blanketed much of the Liaoning province with hot ash. Like what happened?
Hi, it's Park Ranger Marty again, and welcome to the early Cretaceous, North America. The furry guy is Utah Rabbit. Also in this scene, you'll see Deinonychus, or Deinonychus if you prefer. The name means terrible claw because of the sickle-like claws on its toes. If you've ever seen a movie that had a dinosaur called Velociraptor, there's a good chance it was actually a Deinonychus, and the director just thought that Velociraptor sounded cooler.
Make sure to pause your audio tour.
One of the largest carnivores to ever walk the earth. But it mostly ate fish. We know that because Spinosaurus's teeth Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus is a creature
Arctic Ocean during the Cretaceous period. The Great Plains of what is now the United States and Canada used to be underwater. Lots of marine fossils are found in places like Kansas. The first creature here is the long-necked Elasmosaurus. It's a relative of the Plesiosaurus, but much bigger. Second is Archelon, the biggest sea turtle known to exist. It had a leathery shell called a carapace, and just like sea turtles today, it probably laid eggs on land. Because of a bony protrusion on the end of its snout that might have been used to manage its prey. Ankylosaurus is a member of the Squamata family. That's the group of reptiles that includes lizards and snakes. They had 4 tongues for tasting scents in the water. They even had a row of teeth in the back of their mouths for holding onto prey in the water. And that scary fish that you see that looks like a cross between a piranha and a tuna is Xiphactinus. Xiphactinus was a voracious predator that lived in the oceans all over the world. These creatures, or anything else you see on the tour, feel free to text Park Ranger Marty at 844-411. That's 844-346-6411. Also, while doing so, be sure to stay inside your vehicles for the duration of the tour.
Dinosaur in the scene, Oviraptor, has an unfortunate name, meaning egg thief. When this dinosaur was discovered, it was found over a nest of eggs thought to belong to Protoceratops. After later research, scientists realized it was sitting on a nest of its own eggs. But the name stuck and is still debated if Oviraptor actually ate it. There's sunny side up every morning for breakfast.
Yet another dinosaur from Mongolia is the large Therizinosaurus you see here, with the long claws. The claws on its hands could grow up to 3 feet long, making them the longest claws in the animal kingdom. Most of what we know about Therizinosaurus comes from animals closely related to it. The only fossils we have of this animal believed to be an herbivore, but we are still looking for more fossils to know for sure. The dinosaur next to it is a Lorotitan, lived in what is now eastern Russia. It's in a special group of duck-billed dinosaurs called Landsaurus, which are famous to communicate effectively through the herd. Speaking of communication, I've been directed to ask you all to keep an eye out for any free-roaming dinosaurs that may or may not be wandering.
It might have used its horns as a weapon against other predators. Carnotaurus is one of the smallest arms of any known dinosaur, even smaller than the T-Rex. The small dinosaur
Look at it. These are so ugly. The hair on them makes them look ugly.
What they found were tubes inside going back and forth between the nasal passage and the throat. When they recreated blowing air through their tubes, they discovered that the crest would have made a horn sound. The new script here just says make horn sounds. No, guys, I'm not gonna do that.
Sarah.
By the way, hadrosaurs are prey animals. Their sound might have attracted large predators.
That's a lot, but it's incredibly light for an animal this size because it was doing everything possible to be as light as possible, including very hollow bones. This is necessary for it to achieve flight. Quetzalcoatlus was actually not a dinosaur, but a pterosaur.
Albertasaurus is named after the Canadian province of Alberta, where almost all of the remains of Albertasaurus have been found. This makes Albertasaurus a Canadian dinosaur. And if you listen very carefully, you can almost hear it apologizing. It was named after a Mesopotamian bird demon. It is a large North American oviraptorid found in the Hell Creek Formation of South Dakota and had a beak with no teeth. Anzu is relatively a new discovery of this creature.
Make sure to pause your audio tour until you reach our next dinosaur scene.
Chasmosaurines and centrosaurines. Now, chasmosaurines have two prominent eye horns above their eyes and a very large. Now, if you'd like to learn more about ceratopsians or any dinosaur, you can text your questions to me at 844-DINO-411. That's 844-346-6411, and I'll be happy to help.
This armored dinosaur is Ankylosaurus, also known as fused lizard. Ankylosaurus was armored from head to toe with bits of bones on their skin called osteoderms. They are known for having a bony club tail, which was used to swing back and forth as a weapon to deter predators. Scientists have even found a T-Rex fossil with a broken leg that was shattered at about the same height as an Ankylosaurus tail club. This suggests that Ankylosaurus could fight off a T-Rex and possibly even win. The animal here is a Pachycephalosaurus, meaning thick-headed lizard, named after its thick, domed skull. It is often depicted as being used to headbutt each other for dominance, but some scientists think it is more likely used for display, and that the large dome didn't grow until much later in life, which has implications for the next dinosaur in this scene, Draco Rex Hogwartsia. And if that sounds like something from a Harry Potter book, that's because it's from a Harry Potter book. The name actually means Dragon King of Hogwarts, because its skull looked a lot like the skull of a dragon. There are some who think that as this dinosaur aged, the shape of its skull changed, and that what we're really seeing here is a juvenile Pachycephalosaurus. But we won't know for sure until more fossils are found.
So that means only half or even tear through the car. A powerful bite was a dick bite. T-Rex had very short arms, so it couldn't brush its teeth.
No! The last T-Rex is in with the Triceratops' pen, and he's eating the Triceratops! Oh no, folks, this is terrible! That's my favorite Triceratops! Lisa, we've located the missing T-Rex! Lisa, do you copy? Since we're here, Triceratops is an herbivore from the end of the Cretaceous period. That's the same time and place that T-Rex lived. Now, Triceratops means three-horned face for pretty obvious reasons. Scientists used to think that Triceratops used the frill on the back of its head to defend its neck from T-Rex. That seems like it would make a lot of sense, but there's actually evidence that when T-Rex did eat Triceratops, he would sometimes bite down on that frill and pull the Triceratops' head right off. And it was less of a shield and more of a pull tab. Or my favorite dinosaur.
Bigger bite. Megalodon. Megalodon is the largest shark to ever swim the seas. But to sharks today, Megalodon teeth have been found on every continent, including Antarctica. For centuries, these teeth were thought to be the petrified tongues of dragons and sea serpents. What they actually were was no less scary. The good news is that Megalodon is definitely extinct, despite what some TV shows and movies would have you think. It's not the danger anymore. At least, not anymore.
It is a drive-through gift shop.